I'm only going to give you 48 hours. If you don't make it, you resign. I'm Officer Hobbs, and I'm here to ask you a few questions regarding a case. In a world where mammals evolved to live together in civilized harmony, Judy Hobbs, an optimistic country bunny, defies all odds to become the first police officer of her species in the metropolis of Zootopia. Initially assigned to minor duties as a traffic officer, Judy becomes involved in a complex investigation into the mysterious disappearance of several predators who turned savage, with the help of the cunning con artist fox Nick Wilde. The movie begins during a school play in which Judy Hopps, a young bunny, portrays the evolution of her world before an audience of proud parents. In her passionate performance, she narrates how animals left behind their primitive instincts to build a civilized society where predators and prey coexist peacefully under the inspiring motto, "Anyone can be anything." This new social order allows any animal to pursue their dreams without limitations, from becoming an astronaut to working in professions traditionally reserved for larger species. After the performance, Judy fervently declares that her greatest ambition is to become a police officer in her utopia. However, her parents consider this dream unattainable and dangerous. With genuine concern, they explain that no bunny has ever been accepted into the police force due to the physical limitations of their small species. Rabbits are farmers by tradition, not crime fighters. They suggest she follow the family legacy by growing carrots, a safe and respectable profession in Bonnyborough. Judy listens politely, but her determination remains unshakable. Judy's resolve strengthens when she witnesses an act of injustice in her neighborhood. Gideon Gray, a local bully fox, violently intimidates several young animals and steals their tickets to the fair. Despite the difference in size, strength, and the natural advantage of a predator, Judy confronts the bully and demands he return what he stole. The confrontation is unbalanced. Gideon easily knocks her down, mocks her dream of becoming a police officer, and slashes her cheek with his claws, leaving a permanent scar. Nonetheless, even bleeding, the small bunny cleverly manages to recover the tickets while Gideon is distracted, triumphantly returning them to the young animals who celebrate her bravery. This incident crystallizes her decision to become a defender of justice. With the scar as a symbol of her commitment, Judy rises, more determined than ever to prove that size does not determine courage or the ability to make a difference. Since that day, Judy trains with constant discipline, running every morning through the green fields of Buno and studying every story about honorable officers who protect their community. Every day, she visualizes the shining skyscrapers of Utopia, the varied districts like Sahara Square and Tundra Town, and the promised harmony between diverse species. Her family watches with a mix of fear and admiration as the young bunny keeps her word and never abandons her purpose. Each sunrise reinforces her conviction. Each night reaffirms her silent promise. Judy repeats to herself that justice needs brave voices, steady footsteps, and hearts willing to confront prejudice. Her dream grows, clearer, stronger, more real, accompanied by the unbreakable hope of proving that even the smallest can inspire profound change, protect the innocent, and honor the ideal of peaceful coexistence that defines her world. This is how her heroic path begins, marked by sacrifice, study, daily perseverance, respect for everyone, and a future destined to transform Zootopia with eternal exemplary courage. 15 years later, Judy faces the most rigorous training at the Zootopia Police Academy, designed for physically superior species like rhinoceroses and big felines. The first obstacle is a sandstorm simulation where her classmates advance without difficulty while she is dragged by the winds and eliminated before reaching the finish line. In the next challenge, she must maintain her balance on moving platforms while enormous swinging obstacles attempt to knock the cadets down. Her classmates overcome it easily. Judy is hit hard and falls into a mud pit, emerging covered in dirt and frustrated by her inferior performance. The third test presents an ice wall that cadets must climb using only claws and strength. The predators ascend swiftly while Judy slips repeatedly, unable to find support with limbs designed for digging, not climbing. In hand-to-hand combat, she is overpowered by opponents twice her size and immobilized within seconds. However, the bunny holds something invaluable: unbreakable determination and exceptional adaptability. Instead of giving up, she meticulously analyzes each failure to identify patterns and develop innovative strategies. She returns to the ice wall with renewed determination and discovers she can use her agility and speed to create upward momentum through calculated jumps, reaching the top through technique rather than brute strength, astonishing everyone. Gradually, she transforms into a formidable competitor who overcomes obstacles through ingenuity and perseverance, earning the respect of instructors and classmates alike. On graduation day, Mayor Leodore Lionheart announces that Judy has become the first bunny police officer of her utopia. Dawn Bellwether, the sheep vice mayor, places the badge on her chest, proclaiming that this is a monumental day for small animals before being pushed aside by Lionheart. Before departing for her utopia, Judy says an emotional goodbye to her parents at the Bonnie Barrow train station. Her mother, Bonnie, and her father, Stu, although proud, cannot hide their concern for the dangers of the big city. As a sign of their worry, they hand her a fox-repellent defense kit, including spray and alarms, a reflection of ancestral prejudices rooted in prey culture. The train ride offers Judy her first glimpse of her utopia, a dazzling metropolis that surpasses all her expectations. The city is ingeniously divided into climate-based districts that replicate natural ecosystems. Tundra Town with frozen landscapes, Sahara Square with scorching deserts, the rainy district with lush vegetation, and the central savanna with golden prairies. This revolutionary architecture allows animals from every habitat to coexist comfortably. Judy settles in a modest apartment at the Grand Pangolin Arms building, where she discovers that urban life differs greatly from her romantic expectations. Her neighbors are shockingly loud, with walls so thin she can hear every conversation. The imagined glamour clashes sharply with the reality of her tiny, claustrophobic apartment. The next day, she arrives punctually at Police Precinct 1, ready to fight crime. However, she discovers that all her colleagues are large animals, rhinos, buffaloes, tigers, and bears, who stare at her with skepticism. Chief Bogo, an imposing Cape buffalo, begins the morning briefing where he assigns the cases. Bogo reveals that the mayor has ordered the search for 14 mysteriously missing predators to be prioritized, causing public concern. He starts distributing missions among the experienced officers. When Judy's turn arrives, she leans forward expectantly, but Bogo deliberately ignores her and continues to the next officer. Finally, Bogo informs her she will work as a parking enforcement officer issuing tickets. This task, considered the most degrading in the department, makes it clear the chief does not trust her abilities. Judy protests passionately, but Bogo remains unmoved, setting a quota of 100 tickets per day. Accepting the challenge, Judy transforms her disappointment into motivation. Using her agility and knowledge of regulations, she moves through the city with impressive efficiency. Her small size allows her to move between vehicles and detect violations that larger officers would overlook. By noon, she has issued more than 200 tickets, far surpassing the quota. Before ending her shift, Judy notices a red fox named Nick Wilde and a small fennec fox named Phoenix, dressed in a scout uniform, acting suspiciously near Jumball Cafe, an ice cream shop for elephants. Her police instinct activates, and she begins to follow them. Inside, she witnesses Nick trying to buy a giant ice cream for his son. However, the elephant vendor refuses, displaying clear prejudice against foxes and ordering them to leave. When Phoenix begins to cry at the discrimination, Judy steps in and threatens to fine the elephant for health code violations. Nervously, the vendor agrees. When Nick goes to pay, he dramatically discovers he forgot his wallet. Moved, Judy pays for the ice cream with her own money, believing she is fighting unjust discrimination. Later, while issuing more tickets, Judy sees something disturbing. Nick and Phoenix are melting the ice cream under the Sahara Square sun and pouring the liquid into small jars. Curious, she follows them to Tundra Town, where she discovers the truth. They use the melted ice cream to create tiny popsicles they sell to executive rodents. When the rodents throw away the sticks, Nick and Phoenix collect them to resell as premium lumber. Nick shares the profits with Phoenix, who suddenly speaks with a deep adult voice, revealing he's not a child but an adult participating in the scam. Judy confronts Nick and orders him to stop these activities. However, Nick responds arrogantly that he hasn't technically broken any laws, taking the opportunity to insult her, claiming she will never be a real police officer, only an idealistic bunny writing parking tickets. His words strike Judy deeply, and the next day she struggles to concentrate, wondering if everyone was right about her limitations. Even so, the routine continues, and Judy patrols with effort, though her spirit feels fragile, vulnerable, silently wounded. She recalls Gideon's words, her parents' warnings, and the skeptical stares from some colleagues at the precinct. Still, she clings to her uniform, her badge, and the code she swore to uphold. She observes the streets, writes new violations, speaks with small shopkeepers, and maintains her professional composure. Every step echoes on the pavement. Every look reinforces her resolve. Though she doubts, she remembers the promise she made as a child on that stage, the phrase she always repeated, "Anyone can be anything." And Judy chooses to hold on to that truth against all odds. She promises to improve, to train harder, to study every article, every protocol, every procedure once again. The city keeps beating. Her utopia vibrates. Its districts shine, diverse, complex, unpredictable. Judy takes a deep breath, lifts her head, and continues patrolling with renewed determination, remembering that being a police officer also requires emotional endurance, steady patience, and unbreakable conviction. Silently, she reaffirms her mission, her vocation, her identity. The little bunny walks forward, learning, enduring, growing, and persisting. Frustrated, Judy sits in her vehicle lamenting her struggles when suddenly a shopkeeper shouts for help. Duke Weaselton has robbed his store. Excited to finally perform real police work, Judy abandons her post and chases the thief, feeling for the first time like a true officer. During the pursuit, they sprint through Little Rodentia, and Judy takes careful steps to avoid stepping on any tiny residents. In a critical moment, Duke throws a giant donut toward Frou Frou, daughter of crime boss Mr. Big, who is walking distracted. Thanks to her exceptional reflexes, Judy saves her dramatically. Then she uses the donut to trap Duke and drags him triumphantly to the precinct, expecting recognition. However, when called into Bogo's office, he reprimands her for abandoning her post just to recover stolen onions. Annoyed, Judy replies that she never wanted to be a parking officer but a real cop committed to actual justice. As they argue, Mrs. Otterton appears, begging for help. Her husband, Emmett, has been missing for 10 whole days. Judy offers her assistance with respect and sincere empathy, but Bogo refuses, maintaining his authoritarian stance. Suddenly, Deputy Mayor Bellwether arrives, intervening publicly and declaring that Judy will find Emmett, officially granting her the case. Her first real investigation. Frustrated, Bogo allows her to proceed but imposes a strict deadline. 48 hours or she will be fired with no second chances. Judy accepts, determined, and begins investigating with focus, discipline, and absolute attention to detail. She discovers that Emmett bought one of Nick's popsicles before disappearing, establishing a direct and alarming connection. Judy finds Nick and demands his cooperation, but he refuses with sarcasm and calculated resistance. Judy insists, revealing she has concrete evidence of his fraudulent activities and can arrest him for provable tax evasion in her utopia. With no real options, Nick agrees to help under legal pressure and mutual convenience. Nick leads her to the Mystic Springs Oasis, where he last saw Emmett in strange, suspicious circumstances. There, Judy questions Yax, a carefree hippie yak, who consults with Nangi, a peaceful and reflective yoga instructress elephant. Yax vaguely remembers Emmett leaving in a limousine with distinctive, recognizable plates. Judy carefully writes the information in her official notebook, and together they head to the Department of Mammal Vehicles to trace the license plate with precision.